What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Austin Zaback Show. And today we have a very special guest on the show, King Kong on the show. And man, I love that. I don't know if that's a nickname or who came up with that, but I love that name. I feel like you don't even really need an introduction. You are one of the biggest TikTokers I've seen in a long time. And you're killing the game. You're wholesaling a lot of real estate. You have a massive community, a massive following. I just appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with me and my audience.
Well, dude, Austin, first off, man, I say, bro, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's such an honor. I've seen you. I watch a lot of your video, man. You inspire me and probably millions of other people. Now, when it comes to like wholesale deal, I want you guys to understand that I probably don't do as many deals as Austin does. But your boy King Kong out there hustling and trying to get that money as much as I can, man. But I truly appreciate the opportunities, and I truly appreciate the kind word, bro.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, you're just a humble guy, you know, and I love talking to dudes like you. So I'm excited to jump into it, man. I know, you know, I've done a lot of research. By the way, I've been following you for a really long time too. I feel like I started. Dude, I started following you when you like first got onto TikTok, like in the very beginning. And I followed your entire journey all the way up, and I don't even know, you have like 100 million likes or something like that. I mean, some just ridiculous number. Okay, so you're way better than me at TikTok.
Oh, stop it, dude, Austin. So you must have saw my my whole cringe video and my whole dance.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was good, man. You got some funny TikToks. I'm excited. In a little while, we'll have to we'll jump into that. I'm curious to know, you know, where you come up with some of the content ideas and stuff you came up with. But real quick, you know, I want to kind of dive into, like, you know, I know a little bit about your story. You know, you were born in Vietnam. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you moved to the United States at 9 years old. And man, I just think it's just such a fascinating thing to me, because I think it will help so many people. You know, you technically came here with a disadvantage, right? You came to the States with a disadvantage, and you ultimately you made a massive name for yourself. And so just walk me through kind of, you know, what that looked like, you know, you moving here when you were a kid, and you know, what that kind of looked like.
Dude, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, like, I think that as a person, we got two choices in life. You're either be out there making money, or you're either making excuses. That's the only thing. Because the people that make excuses, dude, is never really making that money. And the people that make money, dude, like Austin, dude, he never make excuses. So, you know, so I was born and raised in Vietnam, man. And, you know, born and raised in Vietnam, grew up in a mud hut. I used to catch frogs for dinner, came to America at the age of 9, dropped out of high school when I was 17, met my wife at the age of 18, moved into this little shed behind a mobile home park. And I remember, you know, obviously most, you know, the typical Asian parents say, hey, go to college, you know, get a degree, be a doctor, lawyer, and engineer. But dude, I mean, my whole thing is I just knew that school wasn't for me, because a lot of people ask me, so Kong, like, why did you drop out and all that? I just knew that school wasn't for me, man. I was not the book smart, but I had the hustle. I'm willing to work. Like, I got that work ethic. Like, I remember back in Vietnam, I work and help my family out in any way I can at the age of 6. Wow. So throughout my whole entire life, like, my parent already ingrained in me that work ethic already. And long story short, man, met my wife at the age of 18, got my first job, making $8.50 an hour working at a factory. And then when we were 20, we had an opportunity to buy over a hair extension kiosk. And so I was working at the factory. The wife was running the hair extension kiosk. And I remember going home after work, helping her out. And then we bought our first house at the age of 23, got into real estate at the age of 27, leveraged our house to get into real estate. Started out as a fix and flipper. Knew nothing about real estate. Started out as a fix and flipper. And I did that for about like 4.5 years. And pretty much almost lost everything. And I almost went bankrupt. Had about $1.5 million tied up. It's because I over leveraged, and I was trying to go too fast, too quick. Because when I was new into the game, I was learning the whole vocab about just the real estates, right? I didn't know, like, the hell, what ARV is, like all the materials, what shingles, laminate flooring. Like, I was learning at the same time, and I was doing everything myself, right? and I didn't know how to run constructions or, and all of that. And I was just trying to compete with other investors. When I look at me doing one deal and then I see other investor was doing 3 or 4 flip at the same time. So instead of focused on profit, I was chasing numbers of deals. I was just like, hey, right? So 4.5 year, man, that's when I over leveraged and I was tap out. Like I couldn't borrow the money anymore. And there was to the point where I either pay Uncle Sam or I pay my mentor. And, that's when I discovered wholesaling, because some of my local investor told me and say, hey, Kong, you're so good at finding deals. And obviously you suck at rehabbing property. So he says, so why don't you try to wholesale? So I contact the seller. She has an expired listing. So she lists her property on the market and it basically got expired. The agent couldn't sold it. I sent her a letter. She reached out to me. We chat back and forth. On a 4th conversation, I met her at McDonald's, signed the contract, sold the contract, made $28,000 in like 15 days or so. And dude, that's when I just shut down my whole fix and flip operations. I go all into wholesaling, and I just took all the money I made from wholesaling and just kind of get myself out of the whole fix and flip game. And then from that moment on, dude, the rest is obviously history. So now I have a team of 7 VAs. We do about 6-figure a month, and we wholesale completely virtual. I'm only in 2 market, Arizona and Washington states.
Wow.
And that's pretty much it, dude. Not as much
That's
as
awesome.
you do, Austin.
Well, we gotta do deals together. I do a lot of wholesale deals in Arizona and Washington
Dude,
State.
let's go.
So we'll have to. I live in Arizona, so we do at least like 30 deals a month in Arizona.
Oh, damn.
And then and we're national too. But I love that, man. I love your story. I love the humble beginnings, and I love the fact that you went out and you failed forward, right? You learned a lot. You learned, hey, I was doing it too big. What would you say one of the biggest things that if you were to do that over again, like you got into real estate and you had all these flips going on, like what would be something that you would do differently if you had an opportunity to go back and do it over again? Or would you do it just like you did it?
Yeah, man, listen, I think what it is that like everything is like a stepping stone, right? The J-O, the B had me save up some money that leads me to buying the kiosk. The kiosk got me into real estates, and the whole fix and flip game had me learning so many things about all the rehab costs, right? So I know, so when I talk to the seller tells me, hey, Kong, I need an updated kitchen. I knew the kitchen on a 2-bedroom, 1-bath is going to cost me about, 10 to 15,000, right? If it needs a new roof, I know the roof is going to cost me 7 to 10,000 because I went through that. So when I got into wholesaling, it was like the next step up, and so it wasn't hard, right? But for me, man, if I were to start all over again, if I were to start out with the whole fix and flip game, what I would have told myself is just slow and steady. Because Austin, I remember my banker told me, he said, Kong, slow and steady wins the race. And dude, this is what I told him. I said, well, I didn't say it to him because obviously I respect him and I didn't say it to him, but here's what was going through my head. And I remember going home and talking with my wife. And I said, Lon, come on, man. Shit, I ain't got no time for slow and steady, baby. I got to go get this money, right? And my banker, every single time when he meets me, he said, Kong, slow and steady win the race. Slow and steady win the race. And I would say, dude, I ain't got no time for that. But if I would have just focused on my own journey, my own lane, Austin, and if I would just go slow and steady, which means if I were to do the fix and flip, but right now, dude, I honestly don't, because I know wholesaling, I wouldn't recommend anyone to fix and flip. But not everybody wants to wholesale. So for those of you who wants to fix and flip, and if you're new into the game, let me tell you this: focus on profit. Focus on just getting one project done. Learn from that and just move slowly, because you got to build team. You got to build systems before you take on another one and another one. So don't be like me and chase the number of deals, thinking that hey, you're trying competing with other people. So if I were to do it again, Austin, I would say, Kong, focus on getting this house done. Get the profit coming in. All right, take the profit, set the profit aside. Because for those of you who don't understand, who watch HGTV, who think the whole fixing, flipping houses is sexy, there's nothing sexy about waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, going to Home Depot, babysitting contractor, dealing with the city, dealing with the inspector. It's just such a headache. And I can tell you right now that I've met a lot of fix and flipper that do massive volume. Majority of them do not have a good life. dude. Like they're grinding all the time, and majority of them are not like what you think. Majority of them are broke. And let me tell you what I mean from that, because I've been through it. The money goes in from one flip, and then boom, it hits my bank account and sits there for like 10 minutes, or let's just say it hits for one day. Boom, I saw a number, and then the next day, boom, it goes out to another fix and flip. Right? So money just goes in, goes out. Like you're constantly always, kind of broke. So for me, once I discovered wholesaling, man, I knew that's the game that I want to play.
Yeah, I love that, man. I think everybody, I love that because I think it's really valuable for people. I think everybody should find the thing that they, not only that they love, but they're good at, and that they see, potential in. And I think, you can't do it all at one time, at least. I mean, you could eventually theoretically do it all if you have a huge team and you build out a bunch of systems and processes and whatever. But when you're starting out, man, I think I agree 1,000,000%. I think it's just a matter of really looking at, hey, like, what one thing do I want to get great at?
Yep.
And really lay the foundation, right? And really, like you said, take it slow. I mean, and really learn, and then eventually you can do multiple different things. So I love that. If you were flipping in this market, and I know you're not really flipping as much right now, and we'll dive into wholesaling in a minute, but what are your thoughts on, and I'm sure you have friends that are flipping and people that are flipping. Like, we're in a weird market right now, right? And we're going into 2023, and everybody has a different opinion on what's happening in the market. And interest rates are up, and demand is down, and supply is up. Do you think that people can even flip in this market? And if so, like, what should they be? Should they just be way more conservative on their numbers?
Yeah, dude, Austin, this is a good question, and this is something that we actually talk in one of the mastermind that I go to called Collective Genius. And I think a lot of, there's people in there that are very diverse, right? They got the wholesaling, the fix and flip, the rental property. Like, these guys and gals are doing like big numbers. A lot of them are, if you're into the whole fix and flip game, I think this is a time where you need to be very conservative on your numbers. So, 30%, even 40% at a discount minus repair.
Yeah.
So just a year ago or 2 years ago, when you got into real estates, right? Even if you're new into the game, you bought the property, and even if you buy it wrong, you still come out on top. The reason why is because the property was appreciating so quick, but the game is gone. And all the new people that getting into that think that they can get, and they're not conservative on their numbers, those are the one that get wiped out, or the one that I believe that are a savvy investor, and they're doing massive volume and not taking wholesaling into their toolbox as saying, hey, maybe I should decrease the amount, so that way I'm not putting a lot of money at risk, right? Having a huge capital. Because, dude, I have a buddy that pays, I have like every single month, his overhead is a couple $1 million. He's doing 60 to 70 flip at the same time. And imagine waking up, all of a sudden the real estate market dropped by like 15, 20%. And some people say, hey, that can't happen. Well, let me tell you, nobody could predict what happened in 2008. Mm-hmm. You woke up and boom, the real estate market crashed so fast that people, even experienced investor, couldn't get out quick enough. And they went under quick. So my whole thing is, you rather be safe than sorry. So just make sure that you're very conservative on your numbers. And I would decrease your overhead as far as seeing how much flip like you're going to do, and start wholesaling some of the property where you can't get in and out within like at least 30 to 60 days. Like any deal that that you cannot get in and out, if you're fixing flipping within 30 to 60 days, those are the ones that you want to wholesale.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. And I think that, the luxury and the higher end market right now, you've got to really be careful. And obviously to your point, you can't get out of those deals in that amount of time, like you're talking about, right? It takes a lot of time to get out of those deals. So I completely agree. So when we're talking about wholesaling, kind of a similar question, you obviously are wholesaling in 2 different markets. You have 7 VAs right now. what challenges are you currently facing? And what are some things that you're noticing in your wholesale business going into this new market that we're in right now?
Yeah, great question, Austin. So, I think in 2023, I think wholesaling is a great opportunity because you're going to obviously see more seller that's willing to sell their property at a discount, because I believe that's going to be the buyer's market, right? A year or
Yep.
two a year ago or 2 years ago, when you talk to the seller, all they do is they want retail value for their property. If not, they're going to list it with an agent. So it's harder to get deal at a discount under contract. But now it's reversed. Now it's a little bit harder to get buyers. So your dispo, right, has to be stronger, which means once you get a property in a contract, your people or you got to hustle a little bit harder to find those cash buyer. And I think, building those relationship with some of the solid cash buyer is going to be your biggest thing in this damn market.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think you said it a little while ago, like you got to be more conservative. And what we're noticing now is you have to put yourself, I think, in the buyer's shoes, right? Like
Yep.
if you wouldn't buy the deal, then why would they buy the deal, right? And
Yep.
I think a lot of wholesalers, and the reason wholesaling gets such bad rap is because they're throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks. I mean, it's like they would never buy that deal in a million years, and therefore they end up having to cancel on the seller, and the seller's irritated, and everybody's irritated because they didn't underwrite the deal right? Like they didn't do their math correctly,
Yep.
and it's just not a good deal,
Yep.
What are some things that you said? You said you have 7 different VAs
Yep.
in your company right now. Are these VAs helping you do cold calling, or are they helping you text message? Are they like transaction coordination VAs? Like, what do you use your VAs for?
Yeah, gotcha. So Austin, we actually our business is very simple, and I keep it very simple, man. We're all about low overhead and high profit margin. So we got 3 VA that does all the cold calling. So whether it's incoming call or outbound call, all they do is they just filter and qualify the leads. So that's my lead manager. So we got 3 of those. We got 2 purchase manager that once the seller said, "Hey, I want to sell," boom, that leads get passed on to the purchase manager. Their job is to negotiate and lock that property under contract. And once that property's under contract, then it move over to my transactional coordinator. Then her job is to sell the deal, which means send the contract to the title company, coordinate with the seller to go out there, get a picture of the property, whatever needed to be done, contact, send an email blast, text blast out to the buyers, all right, and market the deal to sell the deal. So their job is to coordinate between title company, seller, buyer, showing, inspections, and moving that thing to closing. And then another one we got is called a call auditor. So her job is, all she does is 8 hours a day, go through and audit all the phone call from the lead manager to the purchase manager to the transaction coordinator. But typically, it's mostly they're focused on the lead manager and the purchase manager. Because a lot of times what we don't do is that, not every day would be a good day. So the lead manager, what they do is they listen to all these phone calls, making sure the VAs are saying what they're supposed to say, do what they're supposed to do. If not, right, then obviously that leads need to be picked up by somebody. And because of us doing that, dude, the wife and I, man, we lost a ton of leads just because of that. Just imagine if you hire a lead manager, you pay a VA $4 to $5 an hour, right? What if 1 month they're able just to find one deal that someone didn't say or didn't negotiate right, didn't whatever it is, right? And then boom, and that deal turned out to make you an extra 10, 20,000 a month. That would have paid for like 3 years of their income.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I love the way that you have your VA structured. I think that's a really unique, we use a lot of VAs in our company as well. And I think VAs are really, really powerful. Do you have anybody in-house, or do you have anybody working for you in an office or anything like that? Or do you run an entirely virtual operation?
Yeah, so it's completely virtual. We do have Robin. So Robin is a US base. So Robin kind of overlook of all the VAs, and then she report back to Lon, which is the wife. So Lon does all the back end, hiring, training, firing. So she trained up Robin to do all of her stuff. And then Robin, anything else, Robin will report to Lon as far as in like the back end. And I just focused on the front end. So anything with like purchase manager and my transactional coordinator, those are the one that I talk to on a daily basis. So we have a meeting every single day for 1 hour in the morning. And then we kind of go over to what they need to do today, what's going on, what question do they have that need me to be answered.
I love that. Yeah, that's really cool. I think you have a very good setup for wholesaling. What made you choose? What market are you in?
Washington State and
Okay.
Arizona. Yep.
And what market do you live in?
Washington State.
Washington State. Okay.
Yeah.
So why, like, obviously Washington State, it makes sense. You're in your own backyard,
Yep.
you know, and
Yep.
you're I believe everybody should do deals in their own backyard, you know, especially
100% agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Why did you choose Arizona of all markets? I know Arizona is a really, really challenging market. It's a really competitive market.
Yep, it is.
Like, why Arizona as like your secondary market?
It's because, you know, wife and I always want like an Airbnb or a vacation home somewhere that are warm, right? Because here, dude, it rains all the time. Wintertime, it gets super cold. And as you get older, man, like I used to like the cold, but as you get older, man, you just like the hot weather, right? The warmer weather. And I think it's like kind of a getaway from us. And that's why we look into Arizona. We look into Texas. Texas has some nice home. They're cheaper, but man, they're like, I don't know why we end up not picking Texas, but we went up with Arizona. The reason why is because I also, it's because we had our CG mastermind meeting in Arizona. So when we go there, Lon just kind of fall in love with one of the Airbnb there. And she's like, hey, Kong, let's go ahead and send out some marketing in Phoenix, Arizona and Scottsdale. And let's buy our first vacation home. We turned that into an Airbnb, and we did a couple wholesaling over there as well. And we decided, you know what? Let's go ahead and pick this as our second market. But that's what. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit more about Washington State. You know, I know that every state is a little bit different. Have you always just been in Arizona and Washington, or have you done, you know, virtual wholesaling nationwide ever? Have you ever done anything else?
Yeah, so we have done a couple deals with students like in other states, but mainly we do is in Washington State. So when I first started out, it was just down to like my county, my city actually, right? And then I eventually grow. And I think what new people that are getting into the game is just like what you said, Austin, is like, you know, focused on the one thing. I think a lot of people, when they're new into the game, they try to target the whole entire states, or they trying to jump to different states. Like they try the states out for like 30 days and then all of a sudden they go on Facebook or they go on social media and they're like, oh, Austin is killing it here. So boom, I'm going to jump over here. And then they try to jump all over the place without committing and sticking to one. But I agree with you. I think when you first start out, your backyard is the best because you got to know your market better than some other market. You get to go out and you get to drive for dollars. You get to go out there. You get to see the property, feel the property. You get to go out there. You get to network with real estate investors that's in your local RIA in person, right? So I think that experience, it's you're not going to get by doing it virtual. So once you have, and the thing is with your local market, I also think that you need to narrow in and focus on like a certain city, a certain zip code, a certain county, right? But you don't want it to be too small. If it's too small, then obviously it's not going to work as well, right? So when I first started out, my county, Whatcom County, has about 100,000 or 90-something thousand in population. And just with 90,000, I would still be able to do 40 to 50K a month. And in my area, you only need to do 2 deals. That's it. 2 deals a month, you can make 50,000, right? So, but I know in other market where it's cheaper, where the average wholesale fee is like 5 or 10,000. So you might have to do a little bit more. So don't think that you need a big team to make, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month. You can actually do it with just a one man, one woman show, depending on which market that you're in. And, you know, not everybody wants to get to the point where you want to make $1 million a year. I honestly, Austin, because of social media and everyone seeing like everybody's making a lot and they're trying to compete with other and things like that. But honestly, man, I think if you can just make, you know, 20, 30,000 a month, bro, honestly, you can live a really, really, really good life. Run it, you know, you get to run your own business, become your own boss, make your own schedule, call your own shot. Dude, making 20, 30,000 a month, you know, I think life is pretty good.
I could not agree more. I think and I'm excited in a minute when we're done talking about, real estate and stuff a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about social media, but
Sure.
I couldn't agree more. I think social media, it can really mess with people's heads, right?
Sure.
Because people end up having goals that aren't even really their goals. I think a lot of times,
So
and
good.
it's they adopted somebody else's goal. Like they inherited somebody else's goal, and they never really stopped to ask themselves like what they want out of life, right? And what they want to achieve. And I couldn't agree more. I think, man, if anybody can make 20 or 30 grand a month, I get there are certain people that want to go make $1 million a month. They want to make $1 million a week, of course, right? Then if that's your life calling, then go do it. But for most people, I could not agree more. I think that's really good advice. If you were a brand new wholesaler, Kong, and you didn't know, maybe let's just say you didn't have a ton of money, but
Sure.
you wanted to start doing deals in your local market. What are some different things that you would start to do to get your first deal?
Oh yeah. So number one is you got to join your local RIA. So just Google it up. They're on Facebook. You can attend it virtually, but typically they have a meeting once a month wherever you're at, right? And so I'm sharing this with you because this is what I did when I first started out. It's not like I watch a book or something. It's actually what I did. So you join your local RIA because you want to start surrounding yourself with people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, having the same goal, right? So you go there, you get to meet other wholesaler. You get to meet the fix and flipper. You get private money lender, hard money lender. You get banker. Like you get like pretty much anybody that's in the real estate industry is in there. All right. And you want to go there and you want to start networking, right? Create relationship. The next one is, I would call some agents. I would call as many agents in your local market as possible. Not everybody going to understand how investor operates. Do never, ever use the word wholesale. Like, let's say Austin is an agent. Don't call up and say, "Hey, Austin, I'm a local wholesaler." Don't use that word. Most agents do not understand what wholesaling is. They understand the word assignment, right? Because when you tell them, "Hey, Austin, could you write up an offer for me?" Right? But if you say, "Hey, could you put an or a sign in the contract?" Because sometimes, my partner or we take at the time of closing, we're going to sign it to a different LLC. Like they understand that. But when you say wholesale, it just comes off very scammy. But so all you need to do is you just need to call some local agents and find 3 to 4 agents that understand investing, right? And network, build the relationship. They're going to go out there and they're going to hunt deal for you. And typically this is called pocket listing. So they're going to bring a deal to you and present it to you first and saying, "Hey, Austin, I got a deal here, man. Do you want to put in an offer, submit an offer? Seller wants a cash offer on it. Seller doesn't want to list the property, right?" And that's called pocket listing. So those are gold mine and it's free, right? The next one is you connect with a realtor, but that are new into the game. And typically you can meet them at the local RIA and you got to exchange value. So tell them, "Hey, listen, I do marketing myself. And if I come across any leads that that obviously doesn't fit us, I'll send it over to you, Austin. You can list the property." All right. But in exchange, Austin, could you give me access to the MLS? The reason why you want access to the MLS is because you can go on there and you can pull expire listing. Expire listing is a gold mine. And you want to go back like 6-7 years ago, because 6-7 years ago, house prices are a lot cheaper than what it is today. And those people that put their property right on the market 6-7 years ago, and if they can't sell it, you call them back at the right time, boom, those turn into deal, and it's free. It costs you nothing. Yeah. So that's the 2 that I would hit. Obviously, the next thing is just driving for dollar, which all of us know. Go around your city, find some rundown houses. Imagine if you just find 3 houses a day, 3 vacant houses a day, times by 30. So 3 a day times 30. How many? That's 90 houses. Yep. If you skip trace, if you're consistent enough, there's really, like, if you're consistent enough, there's really no reason why everyone that's watching this can do a deal within the next 30 to 60 days, period. The problem with you guys is that all you're doing is you're saying, "Hey, Kong, I want to become successful," but you're going to try it out for a couple of days and then you end up quitting. That's your problem. Your problem is not you're not willing to stay committed and consistent. And, Austin, dude, I was on my IG live the other day and somebody comment and saying, "Well, Kong, I have trouble with discipline and staying consistent." I said, "Dude, this is your problem. Your problem is that you're too comfortable. Your problem is that you don't want the success as bad as you say you want it. Because when you do, dude, you will do whatever it takes. Right? So majority of people that are watching this, Austin, they're just too comfortable. Right? Yeah. They're like, okay, you know what? Whether if I can do a deal in the next 30 days, great. If I don't, then like my life is okay. And that's your problem. You see, when I first got into real estate, man, I didn't have a choice. When you don't have an option, that's when you succeed, my friend. Like, you know that you just got to make this work. So when I first got into real estate, dude, I want to get away from the job bad. I hated working there, hated the people. It's just not a good environment. So I knew my only options was to succeed in real estate. So I would come home from work, man, from 9 p.m. until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I would sit on my computer and handwrite expired listing every single day. I tell myself before I go to work that I would write at least 50 of these handwritten letters, shove it in the mailbox every single day. I did that for a year. That, my friend, is freaking commitment. That's, so hey, Austin, do you know Eric Thomas?
I do, very well. You got to want it as bad as you want to breathe.
That's right. That's when you will succeed. Otherwise, I promise you, no matter I don't care how bad you say it, you're not going to make it. Until you want success as bad as you want to breathe, you're not going to make it, my friend, because that's how hard it is to get into the top 1 to 3%. And I'll say right here, it's not a walk in the park, right? And majority of people not going to get to Austin level. And that's why I tell people that, dude, if you could just make 10, 20, 30,000 a month, man, honestly, life is good. It's getting to Austin level. You're really saying I am one out of like a couple million people.
Yeah, and the same goes to you, man. I think that, it isn't for everybody. When you look at what you have to sacrifice to get to where, even, and I still believe I'm a nobody, but I've done probably $1 billion in real estate. I've done a couple of thousand wholesale, a couple of dozen wholesale deals. I've built like 10 or 11 different companies. And I've given up everything, man. I've given up family. I've given up friends. I've given up sleep. I've given up everything you could imagine to get to where I'm at today. And there's been many, many, many years where it's been a grind, right? And dude, I mean, if you weren't a very particular type of human being, it would be very tough to keep going at times. Because there's times where you have no family, you have no friends, you're at the office 16 hours a day, your health isn't good. I mean, there's been seasons in my life where I had bad health, I had everything going against me, and so I couldn't agree more, man. I think people should really take it in levels and in steps and get to 20, 30 grand a month. See how that feels. Like, get there, right? And like you said, have the grit, have the resilience, like do what it takes. You have to want it as much as you want to breathe. And I could not agree more. So I love that, man. Now, my phase 2 or follow-up question to that is, if you had maybe 5 or 10 grand a month, right? So you didn't not have any money. Maybe you've done a couple of wholesale deals. Like, what are some different things that you would do if you were that person that maybe wants to go from doing a deal or two a month to 4 or 5 deals a month? Like, what are some different marketing techniques or strategies? Like, what would you do?
Austin, dude, this is such a good question. So listen up. No investors will tell you this, but your boy King Kong is going to tell you this. If I were to start all over again, to go from, let's just say 20,000 a month. Let's just say that I'm a guy that, hey, you have master wholesaling. Like, exactly, like you can do it in your sleep. And maybe you're just doing 1 or 2 deals a month and you're making, like, let's just say 20,000 a month. I would not, listen to me, I would not try to grow. Here's how you go from just doing 1 or 2 deals a month to becoming a millionaire. This, my friend, will be I'll give you the shortcut. Like, I would not, Austin, focus on my wholesaling business. I would not. Like, I would not focus on just grow my wholesaling business. What I want to do, dude, is I'm going to build a brand around it. That's what a lot of you need to do, right? Because you got to understand this, bro. Every one of you that's listen, there are people out there that don't need to become the next millionaire, that don't need to make 100,000 a month. And I can tell you from experience, it's really hard to grow a wholesaling business to go from 0 to like 100K a month. It's hard, but it's a lot easier knowing what I know. All right. just to grow your personal brand, you can do coaching, you can do courses, you can do consulting, you can do affiliate. There's just so many other revenue by building a brand around it. And let me explain. If you can just make 20,000 a month, let's just say all you do is you do 2 deals a month. You say, Kong, I master wholesaling. All you need to do now, right? So once you master that, there are people out there that said, hey, dude, I would just love to make 10,000 a month, Austin. Dude, I've been following you, Austin. That's all I want. I don't care about these guys or gals that are making 100,000 a month. Dude, I just need to make 10,000 a month, bro. I've been following you. I like, dude. So it opened to me. That's just way better. Imagine you make 20K from there, 20K from courses, 20K from coaching. Like it's just, there's just so much different stream of income that it will open up that will help you get to $1 million a month, or I'm sorry, a year, a lot quicker by if you just master the skill, build a brand around that skill, and grow it that way. If I were to start all over, Austin, that's exactly what I would do. Like, I would not focus on trying to grow my wholesaling business to like what it is today. That's why I tell all my followers, bro, like I'm not looking to grow my wholesaling business. I'm happy with where it's at. I'm satisfied. I have no passion for wholesaling, right? It makes me money, but I have no desire to grow it. Like Austin can tell me, hey, I'm doing like $1 million a month in my wholesaling business. Great. You're amazing, right? But I have no desire. I just love teaching. And that's why I focus on building my brand more. But yeah.
I love that. You totally answered it. And I love the advice. And I think, I want to dive into that a little bit. You obviously built a really big brand. TikTok was the platform that I initially found you on, I believe. I mean, I obviously heard your name from a lot of other different people, but talk to me about, building a brand. Like, how did you get so big? What were you doing? What did that look and feel like?
Well, the thing is, Austin, regarding TikTok, man. So I first started my YouTube channel because I kind of heard Gary Vee, right? And Gary Vee was talking about the whole personal brand, how big it is, the opportunity that it could bring you. And boom, I woke up the next day, man. I was so excited to launch my first video on YouTube. Honestly, I was so scared. I didn't think people were going to watch me or listen to me because I have an accent. I'm not obviously, dude, I was very camera shy. I hated being on camera and taking pictures at the time as well. But I did it because I knew the opportunities. You see, a lot of you say, Kong, I don't know if I want to do that. But you got to understand, because you haven't got the taste of the money. Once you get the taste of the money, man, dude, you will do it. You will do things that you don't want to do. Okay? And a lot of people, my whole thing, Austin, throughout my life, man, how the whole thing people are saying about passion, follow your passion. I can tell you right now, for me, that's all baloney. Oh my God, I think people make that excuses just to do shit. Sitting at home playing video game, I'm trying to find my passion. Dude, go make the freaking money. And then once you have the money, dude, now you can use that money to leverage, to fund your passion, to do what you love to do. And I will tell you guys this. If your passion does not pay for your lifestyle, it's just a hobby. Go get a job, dude. Start bringing some income. But, Austin, to answer your question, man. So regarding TikTok, and I think Gary Vee is also the person that got me into TikTok. So I think it was a good timing for me as well. So I was lucky in that sense where I got in it early, where there was not a whole lot of real estate investors that were on there making content. And I remember, dudes, I remember spending months. My first couple months, I didn't take TikTok very serious. I wish I did, but I didn't. And then I started to see one of my videos pop off. That's when I just go all in. Because I have never got 500,000 view on when I was on YouTube or Instagram. So I was like, dude, this Gary Vee is right. This is the platform. So I started consuming, watching the trend, what they do and all that. And for the next month, I just went all in on it, man. And yeah.
Man, I love that. First of all, I totally agree with what you're saying. I've always been a guy to tell people hey, get the money and then go do your passion, right? Do not do it the other way around. I think for some reason, I think the generation that is growing up right now, they got soft somewhere along the way. And I completely agree. I think that that is 100% their excuse to go to Bali and live for $500 a month and pretend like they're happy and whatever. And I guess for some people, maybe they are, right? Maybe they are. But for a lot of people, I don't think they are, right? I think they don't know any better. And that is just an excuse for them. So I couldn't agree more, man. And then on TikTok, you did get in, you did blow up, and you did go all in. Like what were who were you following at the time? Like what were you, obviously you talked about Gary Vee, but who are you looking at? Like, how did you come up with the content ideas? Because your content ideas at the time were, and they still are, they were very unique, right? You were doing some things that a lot of other people, at least in the real estate, in the wholesale world, they weren't doing on TikTok, and you were doing it. So like, where did you come up with some of that? Are you just super creative, or were you watching somebody, or what?
Yeah, man. I think when it comes to social media, it's that you just got to be you. All right. So whoever you are off camera, that's who you should be on camera. You shouldn't try to copy somebody else. But what I think you need to do is you need to understand that different platforms require different type of content. So something might work on YouTube, might not work on TikTok. Something work on Instagram, might not work on TikTok. So basically, with TikTok, when I first started out, man, I wasn't really watching anybody in particular, like in the niche. But when I do see other, so here's the thing: when you with TikTok, is that there will be a trend, and other people in different industry will take that trend and turn it into like their own. Gosh, man, it's hard for me to. So if they take the trend and merge that into whatever business they're doing, right? So let's just say if you do stock trading, right? So there would be a trend about stock trading, right? And then I would like, oh, that's a great idea. Well, let me take that and then convert it into what I'm doing, which is for wholesaling. And then I think just about being consistent and just makes the content different and just unique in your own way so that you stand out from the crowd. I've seen so many just go on camera. All they do is they just sit there, they talk. And, I've seen this too, Austin, is that I think that you should blend, like 80% of your content should be educational, but the other 20% should be like a mixture of like kind of who you are, right? Because a lot of people don't understand majority of the straight up like knowledge. So let's just say you do a video where you just drop all the bomb. You basically give people all the nuggets that they need in like 30 seconds or less than a minute. But that video will not get the view that you thought because you gave so much value, but it's not going to get the amount of view versus if you were to do something that is not as education, but it gives you the exposure, and then it brings the people into your page and check out Austin, who Austin is. Some people is going to stay because, okay, Austin teach about wholesaling. I love this guy. I love just his whole thing. So those people are going to stay. And some people that saw your video that was funny and say, oh, I thought this guy does comedy. Well, I guess he's not. Those people are going to leave. But what I think most people lack is, they lack the exposure. They're just straight up dropping like straight up business content, right? Yep. And they don't understand that what you need is you need to get exposure for your name, for your brand. And then those people will funnel in, and who stays, and who leave will leave. I hope that makes sense, bro. But hey, Austin, dude, I'm so sorry to interrupt, man, but got about like 3 minutes. Okay. Sorry, bro.
We'll keep it really short, man. What do you have a favorite platform?
TikTok, dude. I love TikTok. And
I love that.
Right now, right now, I believe, Austin, like TikTok are still like very young, where it has the younger generation. But I believe that one day TikTok will become like Facebook, where it will mature. And that's where I think that's when it comes to monetizing. I think it's going to be a lot better. Right now, monetizing on TikTok is you're not getting as good results as if you were doing it on Instagram or YouTube. But I believe, and that's why I'm going to all in on it versus YouTube or Instagram, that I believe later TikTok will mature like Facebook, where they have more mature audience. That's when I have a big following. That's when I'll be able to reap everything that I have put out right now.
I love that, man. Well, I know you got to run very soon, so I'll ask you one final question. That is, if you were to give a younger version of yourself just one piece of advice, it could be anything, man. It could be business, it could be life advice, relationship advice, anything at all. If you were to go back and give yourself, I don't know, you're 18 years old, and give your young self that piece of advice to navigate your way through life, what would that be?
Dude, all I gotta say is number one is you gotta get your priorities straight. Number two is you gotta get your money right. Priority. A lot of 18, 19-year-old, they don't know what they want. So all you do is you're just drifting. You become a drifter. You go and party, clubbing, drinking, smoking. You get into like drugs, addict, and it just cause all this bad habit. You got to get your priorities straight. The sooner you figure out what it is that you want to do in life and just focus on that one thing, I promise you, dude. Like, I believe, Austin, if anybody's starting in their 20s, they can wake up and become a millionaire by the time that they're 30. They said it'd take 10 years for an overnight success. People don't understand that the amount of time it takes to become successful. So think about whatever you want to do and you want to become successful and financially free. Just think of it 10 years. So if you throw away your 20s, guess what you're doing in your 30s? You're paying the price. So now you're starting at zero in your 30s. So it's going to take you 10 years so you become a millionaire in your 40. So number one is you got to get your priorities straight. As soon as you figure that out, boom, right? You will distance all the noise. No party, no clubbing, no girls, no booze, no none of that. Number two is you got to get your money right. Once you start making money, the thing is not to buy stupid shit, right? Because people, once they start making money, Austin, they go buy the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, the Burberry, the Rolly, right? The Lambo, the Ferrari, right? So you got to make sure you get your money right, because most of those money should go back into reinvesting either into yourself, back into your business to grow, to buy asset. And then later on, my friend, you can enjoy the good life. You can get the Lambo, the Ferrari, but you got to get rich first. And that's what I would say, Austin.
Man. I love phenomenal advice. Mic drop. I appreciate you, Kong. Where can people find you, man? What platforms? Obviously, TikTok. What's your handle on TikTok?
Yeah, just go to Real King Kong. And Austin, thank you so much for the opportunity. And it's such an honor to be on this platform, man, because I've watched and seen your video, and you super inspiring, bro. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Well, hey, the same goes to you, man. You're really inspiring to me. I can't wait to meet you in person. I know we'll probably meet soon, and we'll do deals together. And I just appreciate your time, brother.
Austin, thank you so much, bro. Take care, dude.